You have been praying for change, begging for a new life, yet you wake up every morning in the same old skin. Why? Because your words and your inner voice are at war. Until they align, the new you cannot be born. You rise every morning with the weight of yesterday still heavy upon you. You whisper prayers for a better life. You recite affirmations you found in some book. You even post words of hope online for the world to see. And yet, nothing changes. Day after day, you step into the same job that suffocates you. You come home to the same arguments, the same unpaid bills, the same gnawing emptiness that no paycheck, no distraction, no quick solution seems to satisfy. Why? It is not because you lack intelligence. It is not because you were born into the wrong family or because luck has forsaken you. It is because you have not yet learned the true secret of transformation. You speak one thing with your lips, but you murmur another in the silence of your mind. Outwardly, you say, "I am abundant, I am successful, I am loved." But inwardly, your inner voice whispers, "I am broke, I always fail, no one wants me." And because the inner voice holds the true power, the world you live in bows to that whisper, not to the empty words of your mouth. I have seen it countless times. A man stands in church on Sunday, raising his hands to heaven, declaring his faith. But when he walks home, he mutters, "Things will never get better. My boss hates me. I'll probably lose my job." And what happens? He loses it. Another woman kneels beside her bed, pleading for love, for a companion to share her days. But when she gazes into the mirror, she repeats within herself, "I'm not attractive. Men always leave me. I'll be alone forever." And what happens? She is alone, not because she is unworthy, but because her inner voice has already condemned her to solitude. Your life, my friend, is nothing but the echo of your inner speech. Every circumstance, every encounter, every joy and every sorrow, these are born from the conversations you carry within yourself. And here lies the tragedy. Most men and women live their entire lives as prisoners of their own inner dialogue, never realizing that they are both the jailer and the prisoner, both the warden and the captive. Think of it this way. The outer world is but a mirror, and your inner speech is the face it reflects. You may paint your lips with words of faith, but if the heart is murmuring doubt, the mirror will only show you despair. You cannot escape it. The mirror does not lie. Let me tell you the story of a man I once knew. He was a clerk, working long hours in a small, dimly lit office. Every day he told his colleagues, "One day I'll be rich, one day I'll own my own company." They laughed, patted him on the back and returned to their work. But in the silence of his mind, he whispered, "I'm stuck here. This is all I'll ever be. Men like me don't rise." And so, year after year, nothing changed. His words were a mask, but his inner speech was the truth, and the truth always prevails. Contrast this with another man, a simple tailor who earned barely enough to feed his family. Outwardly, he never boasted, never declared his wealth aloud. But inwardly, every night as he lay in bed, he spoke to himself in whispers only God could hear. "I am prosperous, my work is valued, I am free from want." He felt it in his bones. He heard it in the theater of his mind. He clothed himself in the words of abundance until they became his very skin. And within a few short years, opportunities arrived, clients multiplied, doors opened that had always been closed. He became prosperous, not because of his hands, not because of luck, but because of his inner voice. You see, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot clothe yourself in abundance outwardly while remaining dressed in poverty inwardly. You cannot speak of love with your mouth while your heart rehearses rejection. You cannot declare success to the world while you secretly replay the film of failure in your imagination. If you do, the stronger voice, the inner voice, will always triumph. And here is the cruel irony. The more you try to force change with your outer words, the louder your inner denial becomes. You say, "I am rich," and the inner voice answers, "Liar." You say, "I am healthy," and the inner voice sneers, "Look at your weakness." You say, "I am loved," and the inner voice whispers, "You are alone." And the world reflects not the declaration, but the whisper. This is why so many grow weary. They read the books, they attend the seminars, they repeat the affirmations, but nothing moves. They think the law has failed them, but it is not the law that fails. It is their divided tongue, their contradiction, their war within. You cannot be reborn into the new man until your outer ideals and your inner speech are one. That is the secret. That is the birth Neville spoke of when I said, you put on the new man whenever your ideals and your inner speech are in harmony. Only then can the new man be born. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. Outwardly, he proclaims, "I am planting wheat," but secretly, in the night, he sows weeds. When the harvest comes, what will the field bear? Not wheat, but weeds. So it is with you. Your outer words are the wheat, but your inner voice sows weeds, and the harvest of your life is determined not by what you boast, but by what you whisper when no one is listening. Do you see now why your life has not changed? It is not fate, nor bad fortune, nor some curse upon your family. It is your own divided speech. You have been clothing yourself in contradiction, outwardly draped in hope, but inwardly clothed in despair, outwardly dressed in faith, but inwardly wearing doubt. And until you change this garment, until your words and your inner voice are stitched from the same cloth, you will remain the same man, the same woman, reliving the same story year after year. But the moment, listen to me, the very moment your tongue and your heart become one, the new man appears. It does not take years. It does not require struggle. It requires only harmony. The outer word and the inner voice must kiss, and in that union, a new life is conceived. Pause now and ask yourself, what am I truly saying inside? Not what I post online, not what I tell my friends, but what I murmur when I'm alone. That is your true prayer. That is your true prophecy. And that, my friend, is why you are where you are. Let me tell you one final story before I reveal the path forward. A young woman once came to me, weeping. She longed for marriage, for companionship. She said all the right words. I am ready for love. I am open to love. But when I asked her what she said within herself, she bowed her head and confessed, men always leave me. I am destined to be alone. That was her true prayer, her secret inner speech, and as long as she continued to dress herself in those words, no suitor could remain. I told her, my dear, you must put on the new man. Speak within yourself as one already loved, already cherished. Say it not only with your lips, but with the voice of your heart. She practiced nightly. She whispered before sleep, I am adored, I am chosen, I am a wife. She felt the ring upon her finger, the warmth of an embrace, and within months her life changed. She met a man who adored her, and soon she was married. The outer world simply bowed to the new garment she had clothed herself in. So I ask you now, what garment are you wearing? Are you clothed in fear, though you speak faith? Are you wrapped in doubt, though you declare hope? Are you dressing in failure inwardly, though you boast of success outwardly? That is why your life remains unchanged. And until you dare to align the two voices, the outer and the inner, you cannot be reborn. But the moment you do, the new man will stand before you, and the old will vanish as though it never existed. Now listen closely, for you are standing at the threshold of discovery. In Block 2, I showed you the tragedy, that your lips say one thing, while your heart whispers another. That is why your world has not changed. But here is the revelation that will shatter the prison of your old life. The secret is this: you are clothed with the new man, the very moment your outer ideals and your inner speech become one. Do you grasp the weight of these words? Transformation is not delayed. It is not dependent on time, money, or permission from the world. It is dependent on one thing alone: the harmony between what you declare outwardly and what you whisper inwardly. This is what I call the law of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true, when felt and spoken inwardly with conviction, becomes the garment you wear, and the world, obedient as a mirror, reflects that garment back to you. Think for a moment about the prayers of millions. They cry out to the heavens, asking, pleading, begging for change. And yet, their prayers remain unanswered. Why? Because prayer is not begging. Prayer is not words thrown into the air. Prayer is inner speech clothed with feeling. Prayer is assuming the state of the wish fulfilled and dwelling in it as though it were already fact. Let me give you an example. A man desires wealth. He goes to bed each night whispering, "I want to be rich. Please, God, make me rich." But his inner speech is one of lack. He is affirming desire, not possession. His words carry the scent of poverty, and so poverty remains his portion. But if that same man lies down at night and, with a quiet heart, says inwardly, "I am wealthy, I am secure. My life overflows with abundance," and if he not only says it but feels it, tasting the reality of it, then he has assumed the state of wealth. And because assumption, sustained with feeling, hardens into fact, his outer world will reshape itself to match his inner clothing. This is why I tell you, feeling is the secret. The world responds not to what you ask for, but to what you inwardly believe yourself to be. Now, you may object. You may say, "Neville, that sounds too simple. How can my imagination, my inner speech, have such power over the external world?" But I tell you, the imagination is not mere fantasy. The imagination is God in action. The imagination is the creative power clothed in your own consciousness. Do you recall the words of Scripture? "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." That word is not spoken on a page. It is not shouted into the sky. That word is your inner speech. That word, when aligned with your highest ideal, creates. Every invention, every empire, every movement in history began in the imagination of a man or woman who dared to assume it real. The airplane flew in the imagination of the Wright brothers long before it flew through the skies. Electricity lived in the mind of Edison before it lit the world. Freedom was spoken in the hearts of the oppressed before it was ever declared on paper. So it is with your life. What you dare to assume within yourself, you become. But let me be clear, you cannot fool this law. You cannot say one thing outwardly while inwardly clinging to its opposite. The law is merciless in its precision. You can stand before the mirror and say, "I am beautiful," 1,000 times. But if your inner speech declares, "I am ugly, I am unworthy," the world will reflect ugliness and rejection. You can announce, "I am successful," yet if your inner voice murmurs, "I am a failure, I am overlooked," then doors will close, opportunities will vanish, and your life will mirror failure. This is why the alignment is everything. When the inner and outer are in harmony, the new man is born. Let me paint this image for you. Picture a garment torn in two. On the outside, it is bright and beautiful, embroidered with golden words: success, love, health. But on the inside, the fabric is dark, frayed, covered in words of failure, loneliness, and sickness. When you wear it, the world does not see the golden embroidery. It feels the inner cloth, and that is what shapes your life. Now imagine instead a garment woven whole, inner and outer stitched from the same thread, radiant with beauty. That garment is what I call the new man, and once you put it on, your life cannot help but transform. So how do you put on this new man? By disciplining your inner speech, by catching the whisper that denies your desire and replacing it with the whisper that fulfills it, by refusing to let your imagination wander in fear and lack, and instead clothing it with faith and abundance. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, you have a choice. You can replay the failures of the day, muttering inwardly, "I can't do it, I'll never change." If you do, tomorrow will mirror the same. Or you can whisper as one already changed. You can feel the embrace of success, the warmth of love, the joy of freedom, and let that inner speech be your final word before sleep. If you do, tomorrow must begin to shift. This is not theory, this is law. Just as surely as gravity pulls the stone to the earth, the law of assumption pulls the outer world into alignment with your inner state. And let me warn you, the law is impartial. It will bring you pain if your inner speech is pain. It will bring you joy if your inner speech is joy. It does not ask what you want, it gives you what you assume. So examine yourself. What do you truly assume to be real? Not what you claim in front of others, not what you scribble in your journal, but what you say to yourself in the silent hours. That is your seed, that is your garment, that is the prophecy of your future. When you understand this, you no longer plead with life, no longer beg God to intervene. You realize that God has already given you the power of imagination, the power of inner speech. And with this power, you clothe yourself with the new man. From this moment forward, I urge you, do not repeat the old garment, do not clothe yourself in yesterday's voice. Speak inwardly as the man you wish to be, as the woman you long to become. And when your outer ideals and inner voice kiss, when they are one, the world has no choice but to obey. Now that you understand the law, let me show you how to use it. For knowing without applying is like holding the seed in your hand and never planting it in the soil. It will not bear fruit until you dare to sow it. The first and most sacred practice is what I call living in the end. You must learn to imagine and feel yourself already in possession of your desire. Do not beg for it. Do not ask as though it were distant. Live in the end result as if it were here now, for what you assume as true when clothed with feeling becomes your reality. 1. The nightly practice. Each night, before you drift into sleep, enter the theater of your mind. This state between waking and sleep is the most fertile soil for planting seeds. In that drowsy stillness, the conscious mind is quiet and the subconscious is wide open. Suppose you desire wealth. Do not imagine piles of money floating before you. That is fantasy. Instead, imagine a scene that would naturally follow the fulfillment of your desire. Perhaps it is the feeling of handing your mother a check that clears her debts. Perhaps it is the sight of your bank statement showing abundance. But more important than the sight is the feeling. Can you feel the relief, the security, the joy as though it were real? Dwell in that feeling as you fall asleep, and your subconscious will receive it as fact. I recall a man who came to me, desperate. He was drowning in debt, his business failing. He tried affirmations, he tried long prayers, but nothing changed. I told him, each night as you go to bed, imagine the simple act of a friend congratulating you. Hear his words, I knew you would make it. Feel the handshake, the warmth in his eyes. Repeat this scene until it feels real. He obeyed. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities came, debts were paid, and his business flourished. Why? Because he lived in the end. 2. The revision technique. Do not think you are chained by yesterday. The past is not stone, it is clay, waiting for the hands of imagination. I teach what I call revision. At night, review the events of your day. If any event displeased you, do not resign yourself to it. Rewrite it in imagination. If someone insulted you, imagine instead that they praised you. If you failed in a task, imagine that you succeeded. Replay the scene in your mind, but change it until it evokes the feeling of fulfillment. Then fall asleep in that revised memory. Do this faithfully, and not only will tomorrow shift, but the past itself will seem to bend to your new assumption. I remember a woman who quarreled bitterly with her sister. The words spoken cut deep. That night, instead of rehearsing the pain, she revised the scene. She imagined her sister embracing her, saying, "I love you, I'm so glad you're in my life." She fell asleep in that vision. Within days, her sister called unexpectedly, apologized, and their relationship was healed. Do you see? The past is not your jailer. The imagination is the key. 3. Watching your inner conversations. The greatest battle is not fought on battlefields, but in the silence of your mind. Your inner conversations, those ceaseless dialogues you carry with yourself, are creating your destiny. If you do not master them, they will master you. So I charge you, become the watchman of your inner speech. Catch yourself in the act of muttering defeat. When you hear within, "I can't afford this, I'll never change, I'm unworthy," stop at once. Replace it deliberately with the inner speech of victory. "I can afford it. I am changing now. I am worthy of the best." Do this again and again, and soon the habit of inner failure will die, replaced by the habit of inner triumph. And when the inner triumph is secure, the outer world must reflect it. 4. Feeling is the secret. Do not merely repeat words like a parrot. Words without feeling are dead. The key is to marry the word with emotion, to let the phrase vibrate in your bones until it feels natural. If you say, "I am loved but feel emptiness," then the emptiness will prevail. But if you say, "I am loved," and let your chest warm with the sensation of being cherished, then love will clothe you. If you say, "I am wealthy," and feel the thrill of security, the relief of freedom, then wealth will begin to take form around you. Feeling is the bridge between imagination and reality. Without it, the law remains dormant. With it, the law comes alive. 5. A story of transformation. Let me share with you the story of a young man in New York. He was a struggling actor, living in a small apartment, working odd jobs just to pay rent. He came to me and said, "Neville, I dream of standing on Broadway, but every night my mind tells me I'm a failure." I told him, "Then tonight and every night, as you lie in bed, imagine the curtain falling and the sound of applause. Hear the audience clapping, feel the sweat on your forehead, the joy of triumph. Do not merely see it, feel it as if it were happening now." He obeyed. Night after night, he fell asleep in the sound of applause. Weeks passed, and an audition opened. He performed with new confidence, and soon after he stood on a Broadway stage, living the dream he once thought impossible. What changed? Not luck, not chance. His inner garment. He clothed himself with victory, and the world reflected his assumption. 6. Persist until it hardens into fact. Do not expect instant harvest. Seeds take time to grow. Some desires blossom overnight, others require weeks or months. But the law is faithful. If you persist, if you refuse to abandon your assumption, it will harden into fact. The mistake most people make is to plant the seed one night, then dig it up the next to see if it is growing. They doubt, they contradict, they undo their own work. Do not do this. Plant the seed in faith, water it with feeling, and let it grow unseen until the day of harvest. 7. The call to you. And now I turn to you, you who have listened and longed for change. Tonight you have a choice. You can go to bed rehearsing your failures once again, clothing yourself in the old garment, or you can dare to put on the new man. Close your eyes. Enter the silence and whisper the words of your fulfilled desire. Feel them as true. Let your heart agree with your lips. And know this, if you persist, the world must bend. The law has no favorites. It responds to whoever dares to assume. My friend, life does not happen to you. It happens through you. You are not a beggar at the gates of destiny. You are the creator clothed in flesh. Align your inner speech with your highest ideals, and the new man will be born in you. And once that new man appears, the old world, with all its sorrow and limitation, will dissolve like mist before the rising sun. You have heard the truth. You are no longer ignorant of the law. Now the responsibility rests upon you. For to know and not to act is to bury your talent in the ground and call it safety. But you are not here to live small. You are here to be reborn. I tell you tonight, you do not need to wait. You do not need to ask another man's permission. You do not need a sign from the heavens. The power is already within you, waiting for your command. You are not the old self you have carried like a burden. That tired self, that voice of failure, that garment of sorrow, it was never the truth of who you are. You have simply worn it too long until it felt familiar. But tonight, you can drop it. Tonight, you can put on the new man. Do not say, tomorrow I will begin. Tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow never comes. There is only now. And in this very moment, you can speak the words of your desire as if they were already fulfilled. You can whisper, I am free. I am loved. I am abundant. I am new. And if you feel it, truly feel it, then the birth has already begun. Listen to me. The world is waiting for you. The opportunities you think are far away are already standing at the door, knocking. The love you think is distant is already stretching its hand toward you. The abundance you long for is already prepared, waiting for you to assume it. But they cannot enter until you open the door of your imagination and invite them in. Do not be like the man who prays for rain while holding an umbrella to block it. Do not be like the woman who asks for love but secretly clings to rejection. You must dare to believe. You must dare to feel. You must dare to speak with one voice, outer and inner united, and the world will tremble to obey. Let me speak to the worker who wakes each morning to a job he hates. You say, one day I'll escape, one day I'll live my dream. Stop saying one day. Tonight, close your eyes and feel the joy of freedom. Hear the applause of your success. Live in the end, and the end will live in you. Let me speak to the lonely heart who fears they will never be chosen. You say, I am unworthy, I am forgotten. Stop. Tonight, whisper the words of love. Feel the warmth of a hand in yours. Fall asleep as a wife, as a husband, as one already cherished, and life must reflect your assumption. Let me speak to the sick, to the weary, to the broken. Do not call yourself by the name of your illness. Call yourself by the name of health, of strength, of wholeness. Speak it inwardly until your body hears, until your cells awaken, until the new man rises clothed in vitality. And to you who have doubted, who have heard these words and wondered, can this truly be for me? I say, yes, it is for you. The law has no favorites. The law does not ask where you were born, how much money you have, what mistakes you made. The law answers only one question: what do you assume to be true of yourself? So I ask you now, who will you be when you leave this place? Will you clothe yourself again in the old man, muttering the same tired whispers of fear and failure? Or will you dare to put on the new garment, stitched with the words of faith, lined with the fabric of victory? I tell you, choose the new. Dare to believe. Dare to assume. Dare to feel. And the moment you do, the new man is born. And when that new man rises, the old world will collapse. The chains will break, the prison doors will swing wide, and you will step into the life you were destined to live. So tonight, when you lay your head upon the pillow, do not fall asleep rehearsing yesterday's defeats. Speak only the words of your fulfilled desire. Hear them echo in the chamber of your heart. Feel them as though they were already fact. And as you drift into sleep, know this: you are planting the seed of your new life. And when the dawn breaks, the world will begin to shift. Slowly at first, perhaps, but surely. The outer must bow to the inner. The mirror must reflect the face you wear within. So rise, dreamer, rise, creator, rise, son and daughter of God. Clothe yourself with the new man and let the old pass away. For the kingdom of heaven is within you, and it waits for you to claim it now. And if you are still here, listening to these words until the very end, let me tell you something extraordinary. You have already begun to manifest your new life. For persistence is a sign of faith. The very fact that you stayed, that you listened, that you opened your heart to these truths, this is evidence that prosperity is unfolding in you right now. You are not like the many who quit halfway, who turn back before the blessing comes. No, you endured, you received, and because of that, you have aligned yourself with abundance. Consider this moment a confirmation. The new man is already stirring within you. So, as a final step in this journey together, I invite you to take action, not just inwardly, but outwardly. Show your agreement, show your assumption of prosperity by leaving your mark right here. Tap the like button. Let it be your declaration that you are choosing abundance. Click subscribe, for you are stepping into a life of continual growth, revelation, and transformation. And write a comment below. Speak the words of your new self. Declare the life you are manifesting. Let the world witness your inner decision. Do this not merely for me, but for yourself. Every action, every word, every assumption is another garment you wear. And today, you are choosing the garment of prosperity, of love, of freedom. So celebrate this moment. For by reaching the end, you have already proven the new man is alive in you.